Hey guys, and welcome to episode 116 of the Pixel Street podcast, where every now and then me and Connor, because I guess Joel's just dead and he's not a part of this podcast anymore, we just get together and we talk about video games, even when there's like no news to talk about. As I said, I'm here with Connor today. Connor, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Not gonna lie, it's been kind of a crappy week for me, which is a bummer. But it's nice to have this weekly ritual to look forward to, where we can shit talk Joel while he's away.
Yeah, right. If he's not here, he can't defend himself, so that totally gives us free room to
That's
do this.
that's true.
Um, this week we are gonna be just talking about some games we've been playing, and in all honesty, there's not much to talk about in news this week, although we found a bunch of like little news things to talk about. But yeah, there's some PS5 stuff, some stuff with Amazon shutting down a game that's been released for 6 months. Um, yeah, so we're gonna get into all that here in a little bit, but before we get to that, I just want to let you know that you can follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street or Facebook by searching Pixel Street Podcast. Our show goes live every Friday on your podcast platform of choice, and you can now become a Pixel Street pal by joining our brand new Discord server. This last weekend, we did a little Pixel Street Pals party night in Among Us once again, which actually just reminds me I need to start that stream up. Yeah, in the background, if you are watching the video of the podcast, you're just going to watch my stream from that. Um, Also, be sure to search up Pixel Street videos on YouTube and subscribe to us there. We have some exciting content on the way here in the future. Not ready to quite talk about that yet, but some exciting stuff coming up. So yeah, Connor, what do you say we just jump right in and start talking about some games we've been playing? What have you been playing?
Yeah, I mean, mine isn't terribly exciting and kind of still kicking on that Destiny grind. This year kind of blows for video games, man. Like,
Oh, hold on. This year just blows in everything, okay?
yeah, okay, all right, you're right. I mean, thinking of video games in particular, though, like, there's been there are games that have released and there are games that you can play, but this is by no means a landmark year whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just
Even
it's
with
been
new
brutal.
consoles coming.
Yeah, that's the big thing is like typically in the final year before you get those new consoles, a lot of times you'll see a lot of games pushed out, last minute stuff that maybe was promised earlier in the generation or kind of mid cycle or so. Publishers want developers to start working on next gen content and get rid of the stuff that they're working on currently. And
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't feel like that this time around. It's just a surprising lack of stuff. So, I've got a couple things in my backlog. I've actually got some time off here over the next couple of days, and I'm hoping to catch up a little bit. Hopefully I'll have a little bit to talk about on the things that I do have sitting around. But for what I am playing, first one is we'll start off with Destiny. I'm still hitting that Destiny grind. Preparing for Beyond Light to drop here in the near future, and I'm just very excited. A lot of my friends are starting to get back into it now that we're, kind of on approach to the new DLC, and they're starting to trickle out some more details here and there. They showed off a bunch of new exotics in a quick little, teaser trailer about a week or so ago, which was super cool. Those look fantastic. We've seen the end of the means to an end quest chain, or a rival quest chain rather, where we actually get to kill Nokris, and I got my Forerunner title. Yeah, woo! It's exciting for me. If you're laughing at me, that's fine too. I guess my mother does too. Yeah, I mean it's Destiny still. I say this kind of every week that I'm playing it, but as a lot of people return back to it, and it's starting to become more of that daily ritual, it's been strangely comforting in a way I didn't expect. Because, like you said, I mean, this year fucking blows.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good year. So to have
No.
something that I can like jump into, turn my brain off, and just do what I've already done for thousands of hours and enjoy it for the most part, it is just something that I kind of took for granted before, and I'm enjoying it a lot more. Approaching it with that mindset, of like, hey, this is soothing because it's not throwing a bunch at me. I don't have to pay a lot of attention to it, and it's kind of helped me bust out of a video game rut that I think I got stuck into just from this year being such a nightmare. It's
Hmm.
tough to really focus on much of anything aside from depression.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get
You
that.
know? So, yeah, I mean that's the main one for me. There was something else I'm playing, but I'll save that here for just a second. After we kind of hear about what you're playing, you've got a couple things on the list here. Which one are you going to start off with?
All right, so first I'll start with oh, okay, I guess the full name for it is the Dark Pictures Anthology Man of Medan.
Yeah, you
Uh,
better say that whole fucking thing.
this
We don't
game
get
came
paid if we
out
don't.
last September, I want to say, and it's made by the same guys that made Until Dawn, and me and Joel played through this together. We streamed it, and yeah, so none of us here at Pixel Street are good with horror games. Let's just start off by saying that.
We're a bunch of
Um,
wussies.
yeah, we all are. Um, so I was really hoping Joel would be on so he could talk with me about this, but we had a good time playing it. The beginning of the game, okay, this game definitely has its issues. As a horror game, there were too many times where me and Joel were laughing at the game. Like,
Oh no.
there's some really stupid stuff and some, especially at the beginning of the game, the like first chapter of the game has these awful character models where like they kind of look cartoony, which is weird as they're
Oh
like
boy.
on this ghost ship. So I was like, okay, that looks weird. And then they also just do a lot of stupid stuff. I guess that's kind of a callback to like horror movies in general, just doing really stupid stuff.
Sure.
But there's just a lot of things that about the story that didn't make sense. I in particular had a really big issue with the ending, which I won't spoil, but it has to do with the military, and it just made no sense to me whatsoever. Um, yeah, it. We enjoyed ourselves. We had a few jump scares, but I really enjoyed playing through this with someone else. I never got through Until Dawn. Like I said, not a horror guy. But playing through Man of Medan, where I was able to talk with Joel and we were able to do our own little QTEs as we went through, was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. The new game, Little Hope, I think it's called, comes out on
Yeah.
Halloween this year. I'm not. Me and Joel both said we're not buying it. If it comes to Game Pass next year, we'll probably play it again for like a Halloween stream. But
Really.
what?
That no, that's just interesting. That was going to be one of the questions I had is after playing this first title, because obviously they've kind of conceived of the series as, it's called the Dark Pictures Anthology.
Hmm.
So the idea is that there's going to be a bunch of short stories. After this first one, you wouldn't jump into the second one,
If it's on Game Pass, I would. If if
but
not,
you wouldn't pay real money for it, only Monopoly money.
yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
mean this is a Game Pass game for me. It's
sure.
good. I enjoyed it. I'm not going out and spending $30 on it just for a big thing with these games too is that you're supposed to be playing it over and over and over again to get like different endings, different
Yeah,
outcomes, see
like Detroit
everything that
Become
game has to
Human.
give you. A game like this, me and Joel, we're like, we're fine playing this one time. Like we just need that one experience. Like, and that's why, at least for me, I wouldn't go out and buy this because this is a 5 hour game in one playthrough. Like
And how
I'm
long did it take you to get through it? You said 5 hours is
probably
what you
about that.
clocked
I
in.
would guess 5 6 hours maybe.
Okay.
We had a lot of connection issues, especially in our second session of streaming this.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, with like because you gotta figure there's not many people playing this right now.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, that was one of the big features that they touted
Mhm.
with putting this game out was that it had kind of that connectivity feature where you and friends can kind of almost, couch co-op it in a way, or
Mhm.
uh, interact with the story by
Yeah,
choosing different characters and
there's
stuff.
two different multiplayer modes. There's the couch co-op one where I think it's you and up to four people. You choose one character to follow, and as the story focuses on that character, you like hand the controller off between everyone. And then there's the online where you and another person, it will just automatically switch you to those people and you control them. So yeah, uh, that online thing was really cool, and I hope it comes back. I really do, because that's a really cool idea. But man, they have got to fix those connection issues. Like, we would just be playing. Uh, oh, uh, the the first time we beat the story, we had everyone but one person survive, and when we got to the final cutscene, it wouldn't let us in. We had to try for
Oh,
a good 20 minutes to see the final cutscene, just like
wow.
constantly like re-inviting each other in and everything. And then we went back because we found out that we were so close to having everyone survive. There was just one mistake that I made that killed someone like right at the end. So we went back and did it to get the achievement for everyone surviving, and the same thing again. Like, it was so weird, that final cutscene like played out of sync for both of us. Either one of us was like 10 seconds ahead of the other one, or
Mm.
whatever. And like when we went back, Joel said he was getting like 5 frames per second while we were playing, just to fix it. So a lot of issues there. But if they fix that stuff for Little Hope, that's, that will be a pretty cool game for horror fans.
So even though, you had a lot of issues with it, you would still say that it was a worthwhile experience?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Uh, not it's not winning any awards or anything, but we
Yeah.
had fun. Like I said, we laughed. There were definitely times where we jumped and everything. Yeah, it was really cool psychological stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's one of those games that has kind of been in my periphery, that I've kind of kept an eye out for any kind of sales or anything associated with it, because like that co-op thing, it just it's very
I mean, it's
uh
on Game Pass.
sure, yeah, yeah, now of course, but
Yeah.
it's something I was always watching out for, because that co-op feature is very alluring,
Mm-hmm.
especially for like me and my wife. It'd be cool to be able to sit down and kind of game through that together in a couple sessions, or spend a whole half of a day doing it. um so it's good to hear that it's decent, but yeah, I mean, I'm a little bummed to hear about those connection issues
Yeah.
plaguing the whole thing. I wonder how different the experience would be if you were playing by yourself.
I'm
You
sure it
know,
would be better, uh, like connection wise, obviously,
sure, yeah, but
but like
if
that's
there's any
not
other
how I
bugs
wanted
or
to play it. I
glitches,
wanted to
and
play it with a
yeah,
friend.
I think that's the ideal scenario. And I think also, like, the fact that just two of you had that issue. If you were trying to play with like a full lobby of 4 or 5 people or whatever, gosh, it's probably only much worse.
Yeah. Well, the online you can only play with one other person. It's
Oh, really?
the local co-op you can play with like
Wow.
4 people.
Okay.
Hmm.
Maybe they knew. They knew the
Yeah,
connection issues were going to be
maybe.
there,
Yeah.
planned out for it.
But yeah.
That's wild.
What else have you been playing?
Yeah, I mean, the other one on my list, not terribly exciting. I'll probably get like called out for being a nerd or something, but it is a video game and it does count, and it's pretty fucking awesome. I've been playing Magic the Gathering Arena, which is kind of the latest, Magic Online, where you're not playing any kind of paper, you're playing against other people and whatnot. And it's awesome, man. The issue with Magic the Gathering has always been that it's incredibly expensive to get into at most levels. Like, you can definitely spend like $20 and have a good time, but if you want to get really into Magic, it's a lot of money, man. They call it cardboard crack for a reason. It's just very addictive, very pricey, and it makes it a little intimidating. Which that's kind of where Magic: The Gathering Arena comes in, and it simplifies that entire process and makes it a significantly cheaper experience uh for you to kind of get into the world of Magic. And I think it's also a great tutorial path too. Is when you boot up the game, you have, gosh, it's 25 different matches worth of tutorial experience, where it's taking you through the different color routes. It's teaching you like what each slice of the color pie does and what they do, but they really gamified it, which I think is super cool. So when you drop a creature on the battlefield and it attacks, like, there's all kinds of cool effects and things that happen on the screen, which just kind of adds to the experience, and really kind of puts it above and beyond. I've played some of the other Magic stuff that they've put out before, and it's always been a great experience, because it's something that I love to do, play Magic. Randy Pitchford, hit me up. Just kidding. Fuck you.
Yeah.
No,
Did you see
and
he posted a photo? The very first PS5 game was like the physical game was made today, and it was
no,
Godfall, Greedfall.
Godfall. Yeah, no
Yeah, and
kidding.
he's like, yeah, the very first PS5 physical game was made today, and he posted a picture of him by it. I'm like, ew.
Yeah, I can't
uh,
think of anybody who I would want less to touch
yeah,
my marketing campaign.
right. Ugh.
You know, wild stuff. Yeah. I mean, circling back, Magic Arena, it's just fantastic. If you've ever been on the fence or thought about like getting into Magic, or it's something that's interested you in some way, shape, or form, or maybe you're familiar with like the Pokemon card game or the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, that kind of stuff, I think that Magic Arena is a fantastic entry point into that kind of atmosphere and universe. It's totally free for the game itself. So you download it. It gives you like 5 decks to start out with, and if you complete the tutorial, it upgrades all those decks, and it gives you a 6th deck that you can play with as well. And then there's like weekly challenges and stuff for you to earn other things in the game that you don't necessarily have to pay for. There is a battle pass, of course, because everything has to have a fucking battle pass now.
Hmm.
But I think in Magic it works because you're earning like booster packs and stuff and wild cards where you can pick out specific cards or potentially open some really cool cards for your decks. And the deck builder is fantastic. There's a ton of different formats to play, and one of my favorite things is you can actually draft in here, which I think is one of the coolest formats for Magic. In that everybody gets a bunch of packs, you open them up, it's a very social experience
Hmm.
that with COVID and everything, a lot of people have been missing out on. But I think Magic Arena kind of fulfills that bubble a little bit, and again a very cool experience, free. A very low commitment. Jump into it, try out the tutorial, and see if Magic is for you. And if not, at least you got to play a pretty kick-ass card video game. It's got to be better than the Yu-Gi-Oh ones, right? I don't know.
No,
I didn't play them.
Yu-Gi-Oh is awesome.
I'm talking about those DS games though, and the Game Boy Advance games.
Probably. You're considering a
Hmm.
game from today to a DS game? Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, for their time, like, were they even good? I'm gonna look up the review score for
All
those.
right.
I'm real
I
interested.
don't know. I know there's some recent Yu-Gi-Oh games that were pretty popular.
There's one that
Um,
just came out on the Switch too.
like a year ago, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always wanted to grab that, but it was too much. Yeah,
yeah,
I've got nothing to say about this. I have
yeah. I know it's kind of
no
outside
clue.
your realm. You should give it a try, man. I really think that like I know that you'd said the other day in the chat that you had started getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh because we were talking about Magic so much,
Yeah.
and I think if you're a fan of any kind of strategic card game, then you would probably be into Magic. And I know how much you love D&D, and one of the next sets in Magic is a Dungeons and Dragons themed set, so it might be the perfect time to get you into it
I also
so
saw
that
the
you can
Walking
spend
Dead thing
a
you were
ton of
talking
money.
about. I'm a huge
Yeah,
Walking Dead fan.
we don't want to talk about that. That's a
Okay.
whole fucking thing that we yeah, Wizards of the Coast fucked up. That's all I'm gonna
Oh,
say.
okay.
Pissed a lot of people off with that.
Okay.
Uh,
Well,
you just open a can of worms. We're gonna get a ton of emails or comments or something.
no, fine. Hit us up. All right. Other game I've been playing is a game that recently came out. Tell Me Why. This is
That's the
a
Don't Nod game, isn't it?
yeah. It's the game by Don't Nod, the guys that made Life is Strange. They also made Vampire. Um, and man, if you like Life is Strange, you're gonna like Tell Me Why. This is a very good story game. So you play as these two twins. One's name is Allison, the other one's is Tyler. Tyler is a transgender. Well, they're twins. Tyler is transgender, and this like really dives into their past. So in their past, their mother went crazy, chased Tyler with a shotgun, and it's believed that he killed her in self-defense. He went to juvie for 10 years, grew up there and everything. Now he's back, and now that him and Allison are back and they're at their family home, they're like really going in and trying to discover like what happened with their mom, why did she do what she did, like just all the secrets around that. And like Life is Strange, they kind of have these like supernatural powers with each other. They use what they call the voice, so it's just them telepathically talking to each other. They can like just listen to each other without talking, and then also uh, when they get emotionally invested in an area, a memory from their past comes up, and it like plays out in front of them, so they can see everything. So yeah, really cool stuff. You like go around and you're like looking at the memories, and it's just like Life is Strange, kind of that. Also that Telltale thing where it's very narrative driven. There's some choices you can make and everything. Yeah, it's really good. I don't want to spoil anything because story is all you have in this game. But yeah, if you like Life is Strange, definitely give it a try. I loved it. I don't think it's as good as Life is Strange one. It's definitely shorter. There's only 3 chapters. But hey, they're all on Game Pass since this was an Xbox published game. Definitely give it a try if you are into this kind of stuff because it was great. It was a very good story.
Is this one also episodic, like
Yeah,
Life is Strange? It
three
is? Okay.
episodes.
3 episodes. Are
Yep.
all of them out?
Yeah.
Like the entire story?
One thing I was worried about with this is the one thing I don't like about the Life is Strange games is they take so long to release their episodes.
Yeah.
Like Life is Strange 2 took like a whole year for them to get its 5 episodes out. Uh, with Tell Me Why, they released episode 1. The next week, they released episode 2. The week after, they
Okay.
released episode 3. So they just put them all out like right away, which is awesome. That's like the perfect way to handle something like this. Because when you get that episode 1 is out now, and then you have to wait 3 months to play episode 2, and then 4 months to play episode 3, and then 2 more months to play episode 4, like it really takes you out of that space.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I always wait for these to like release at once. Well, to have all of them out, so I can just play through them all at one time. I kind of wish I would have gone through this each week as it went out to like go with the episodic thing. But hey, it regardless, great game.
Yeah, I mean that was my struggle with Life is Strange 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think I jumped into it when the first 3 episodes were out, so I was able to play the first 3 all back to back to back and just kind of jam through them. And I loved it. It was fantastic. It's a very well done game.
Mm-hmm.
But the last final episodes that came out were such a ways out still that I dropped the experience completely, and just didn't want to jump back into it for the longest time because But by the time they came out, I forgot a lot about what happened, and then I thought about like, well, I'm probably gonna have to play these again to get the whole story, and then I was like, oh, well, I've got other shit to play, and like, it's just not a great experience. So to hear them having learned from that experience and to have a tighter release path, I think is smart because if you wait too long, it's just not a good experience for the player,
Mm-hmm.
in most parts. So. No, it's good to hear. I've heard a lot of other great feedback on it too. It's been one of the ones on my list. So
Yeah, very
I
cool. I
think
definitely recommend it. I think
is
with
it
Life,
Game Pass?
yeah, it's on Game Pass.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
this is an Xbox published game. Like this is Microsoft's thing. Um,
perfect.
yeah, I think with Life is Strange 2, I think they were trying to work on too much, and that really took away from the quality there. I think Life is Strange 2 isn't as good as the other games in that series and this. And then they were also working on Vampire at the time. So they were kind of working on 3 games all at one time. And out of them, I think Tell Me Why is definitely the best thing to come out of there. It's not perfect by any means, but yeah, I'm pretty impressed with what they did here. Obviously, I don't have much to say on like the transgender thing, but it like really goes into like into Tyler's life and like transitioning and just the social stigma around that. So really cool stuff.
Yeah, I love when games tackle big issues like that. Because I think that games can handle themselves and conduct themselves in a much more mature, or well thought out manner than we've had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
With these large, kind of philosophical questions or things that are a little bit deeper than surface level. And I'm always very happy to see a developer, try to do it justice. Whether or not it lands, I think that that's maybe not as important as them just starting that path. Because if they pull the trigger and try to tell somebody's story like that, maybe the next developer down the road is like, oh, we can do that too.
Hmm.
We can tell that story. And I think that's an important part of video games that is kind of walked over sometimes. So kudos to them for taking that leap and giving a voice to those people for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I think it's a good time now to jump into our news here. Like I said at the beginning, not really much to talk about here,
Yeah.
but we're just gonna jump right in here. So first of all, PS5's fan is why the console is so big, says a Sony engineer. This is from Jordan Alleman of IGN. A Sony engineer has revealed that the size of the PS5's cooling fan is responsible for the console's large structure. The explanation comes via an article from Japan's Nikkei X Tech, which features an interview with PS5 mechanical and thermal design engineer Yasuhiro Utori. PlayStation fans will know Utori from the recent PS5 disassembly video. The article notes that the size of this cooling fan determined the size, especially the thickness, of the PS5. The 45mm fan ensures air is sucked in from both sides of the console to cool from mainboard, known as the A side and B side, according to Utori, even though the B side does not have the main system on a chip installed on it. It will still generate heat similar to that generated by the PS4 system on a chip, and so needs airflow to stay cool. Yeah, you think anything about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't want to say it's obvious,
Yeah.
but when you look at the track record of the companies for the past couple consoles that we've had released, Microsoft had such a miserable fucking time with that 360, man,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that they never want to experience ever again, which is probably a lot of the driving factor and the form factor that they went with the Xbox One, and then also the Series X and the Series S with that massive honking, black dot of a fan on the side of that thing.
Yeah.
Looks like an intercom. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I think if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense that these systems are more powerful than we've ever had. They're much closer to PC level architecture, current PC level architecture than we've ever had before, and along with that comes a sufficient cooling system. I look at the computer next to me, and I've got an all-in-one water cooler hooked up to my CPU. I've manually tuned all the fans and everything for cooling. It's a very serious thing, especially when you're talking about doing intensive things such as high refresh rates, or in my case, we're doing some video encoding and audio recording and all that stuff. Which obviously isn't going to happen on a console level, but when you start getting into higher tier performances, you're going to generate a lot of heat. The PS4, I think, obviously wasn't anywhere near as bad as the 360 days, but the PS4 had a lot of thermal issues. I have talked to a lot of people that either the dust vents clogged and it had poor ventilation for exhaust, and that thing overheats, or the thermal paste was applied poorly, or whatever it is. And I think both the companies, Microsoft and Sony, are just playing it safe, man. And it's the smart call. You,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to put out a
Absolutely.
$500 console and run the chance of it melting down on somebody. At the end of the day, I don't think people really give a shit what it looks like, to be honest. Like, they could have slapped PS5 on a shoebox and probably sold it,
Yeah.
for the most
I
part.
still don't
But
like the design of the PS5, but
yeah,
who
me either.
cares?
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, I'm not buying it to look at it. I'm
No.
buying to play the games that are on it. So, uh, again, they took the steps that were necessary. They did what had to be done, and I think to the average consumer, it just really doesn't matter. Which is why I think it's weird that people were getting so strange about it in the first place. Like you said, I mean, I I vehemently dislike the look of the PS5. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the digital version looks better than the disc version, but I don't think that either of them particularly look very good or designed very well in my thought.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I don't really care. Like, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect the gameplay. It doesn't affect the purpose of the console. And it's just a weird thing to be upset about. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where this article is approaching from. Is we saw a lot of people get weird and outright almost violent over the look of the PS5,
It's the
which is
internet.
strange. Yeah, internet comments, man, they're brutal. People are
Mm-hmm.
mad about things. I don't know if you've heard.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, sure. So this next one's kind of a follow up on some of the PlayStation information, and it comes from Liana Rupert over at Game Informer. And it reads PSVR is backwards compatible with PS5, but you'll need a different camera. Both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S are killing it when it comes to backwards compatibility, including in the realm of VR. While PSVR will work on PS5, including PS4 VR games with it, there is one oddity that players should keep in mind. The PS5 camera won't work with it, and you'll need a DualShock controller, a PS4 DualShock controller. In order to use the PSVR, players will need the headset, the Move controllers, and a camera. While working on the PS5, PSVR is confirmed not to be compatible with the PS5 camera, so if you're trading in your old system, make sure to keep that little tidbit for yourself. And then it goes on to link a FAQ from a Sony page talking about this explicitly, and basically just states the same thing. You cannot use the PS5 camera. It is strictly meant to be like a streaming, picture-in-picture style camera where you're recording your gameplay or maybe using it for Just Dance or something like that. I don't even know if it's compatible with Just Dance, so I would assume so for that. Um, but yeah, it's got none of that VR architecture in it. It's got none of the compatibility with it. And furthermore, if you want to use your PS4 camera with your PS5, you're going to need an adapter. It does not have the camera port that the PS4 did, and you will have to get an adapter. The cool thing is Sony has some kind of free upgrade or purchase path for that for owners where they're saying you're not going to have to buy it. You probably just have to fill out some kind of form online, and then they'll send it to you, no additional cost. At least that's what they claim at this point for that. But it's a little bit more of a mucky situation than I would have preferred to have with it. I think that when you think about the camera use case on console, I'm sure there are streamers that are streaming directly from their Xbox and using some kind of webcam or something like that, similar with the PS4. But I don't think that streaming and using a camera for, recording yourself playing is really the major use case here. And I would have liked to have seen maybe something a little more focused towards the VR users. But thinking about it, that's probably coming later down the road with some kind of PlayStation VR refresh. There's been some patents and stuff linked for it in the past, so I would assume that's the route that they're heading down. But it's a weird situation, and it really just kind of adds to the fact that Sony has not made this transition an easy one. We talked about the weirdness with the Spider-Man Miles Morales stuff and the upgrades there, and on the Xbox side of things, they have things like smart delivery that make this a very easy choice, and they're very clearly breaking it down in most cases, what you have to buy, what you don't have to buy, like what it looks like, and transparency's been their game. But with Sony, it's been a lot of moves like this where we don't find out the restrictions on things until last minute, or things just don't work in a way that you would expect them to, or hope that they would. And it kind of adds to the frustration that I have with Sony's messaging on this. I don't know, it's a little frustrating. John, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much just echoing everything you said. Sony hasn't like really handled backwards compatibility well. Like they got the game thing down for only PS4, even though there was a lot saying that PS1, 2, and 3 were on the way as well. Well, no, they had to walk back that as well.
Hmm.
They still haven't like really been too clear about like headsets and hard drives and everything like Xbox has. They're like, yeah, just fucking plug it in. Um, yeah, controllers, even like the PS4 controller only works on PS4 games, not at all on PS5 games. Yeah, it's definitely some. I don't know. I don't think they've handled themselves well here. Uh, but I mean, it is what it is. I don't I don't really see that PS5 camera selling well because like
Yeah.
who wants that? It doesn't like it's only for streaming and stuff, and like yeah, if you're like very low entry point trying to get into streaming, cool, but I don't think that's really what people want when they're
I
doing
think
that.
even then there's better solutions. You know, you
Yeah.
think about the Logitech cameras, because to the best of my knowledge, PS4 supports any USB webcam. So you could go out and buy a $20 Logitech camera as opposed to a $60 PlayStation camera that doesn't even work with the VR, which is kind
Hmm.
of their other main selling point, you know? Uh, and it's just it really helps showcase how different the strategy is in approaching this console generation between Microsoft and Sony. You know, Sony is kind of handling this as a traditional, clean break console generation where the PS4 is ending, the PS5 is taking over, and Xbox is really going for that ecosystem path. Where they really don't care where you are as long as you're invested or involved with the Xbox ecosystem, and time is obviously going to be the tell here on who has the right calls. But it's interesting seeing both these companies who have been so similar in the past make such drastic decisions at almost every level. I mean,
Hmm.
it's these two consoles are so fundamentally different, and it's just wild. It's absolutely mind-boggling, uh, just how different they're approaching this whole thing.
Yeah, this is definitely the most interesting like console launch I can think of in my life. Of course, I wasn't like really paying attention to this stuff this hard for a while, but like just thinking back to like 360 PS3, like yeah, they were kind of different there, but there was still a lot similar. Xbox One and PS4, like besides Connect, like those were like the exact same thing. But
Yeah.
now you see so much of a just like what each company wants out of it is so different right now. But like even then, both sides are they're not like totally going out with that. I don't know. It's such a weird situation. I don't know.
It is, and this generation is really. I think it's the clean break. I think it's when we kind of get away from traditional console cycles, and hopefully we move a little closer to kind of the PC ecosystem where things are less forceful upgrades
Mm-hmm.
for things, because obviously having a huge game library for a console that's going to be dead in 7 years just feels bad. It's when you think about it, it's not a great feeling, and to have companies at least putting any amount of thought towards that is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. All right. All right. Last quote unquote big news we have here today is Amazon Games is pulling the plug on Crucible. This is from Jason Guisao from Game Informer. Don't know how you say that. Amazon Games is shutting down Crucible servers on November 9th. The free to play hero shooter has been out for a little under 6 months. Despite its three vastly different multiplayer modes and extensive cast, Crucible had difficulties finding success as well as a large scale dedicated player base. Amazon Games promises that players who have purchased Crucible microtransactions will ultimately be refunded. So, yeah, did you ever give this game a try when it came out?
Nope. I honestly had forgot it even existed, like a day or two after it released, and then just never gave it a second thought. What was it even on? Was it PC only? Yes, yeah, it was PC only. Taking a look at the bottom of this, yeah, I never gave a touch to this, never gave a second thought to this, and honestly, barely saw anything aside from the articles that went up around it each time. With their player base dying, or them going back into beta, which was a whole weird situation, and now them canceling the entire thing. It's been a weird situation for this since the start, and uh, it's not promising for Amazon.
No. Yeah, I gave it a try because I had to write some guides on it when it first came out. But this is just another crap. I can't even think. The game that got canceled around the same time Overwatch came out.
Oh God. Randy
Uh,
Pitchford's wannabe Overwatch.
yeah, something
That
born, Battleborn.
yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah.
It's that's how much I don't fucking think about Randy Pitchford. I can't
Uh,
even remember what games he's put
well,
out.
that also like just goes to show like how forgettable that game was, and that's the same
Yeah.
thing here with Crucible. Like Overwatch owns the hero shooter market right now.
Yes.
If you're gonna have a team based game, you're we've this is the third game that we've seen canceled because of this after Battleborn and Lawbreakers. Is that what it was called?
Yes. Yeah, the Cliffy B
Um,
one.
yeah. So like, you gotta figure people are not gonna be chasing this crowd anymore because just Overwatch owns it. Like, no one's leaving it for your game. There just nothing has been shown that like really uh warrants a crowd to stick with it.
And I
So.
think that, the interesting things to be done in that space have already been done for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. There's just not a lot of space. Battleborn was the name of it. I had to look it up. Uh
Okay.
but that was dead on arrival. The whole God, you literally just said the name of it, the Cliffy B game.
Lawbreakers.
Lawbreakers, yes. Same thing. I mean, it never really caught a player base of a meaningful size, and it seems to be exactly what happened to Crucible. I think the more interesting thing in this story, though, is thinking about how committed Amazon was portraying themselves to be, to kind of entering the gaming space in a serious way,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing this crash and burn this bad is just not a good sign
Yeah, it's not a
whatsoever.
good start when this is your first game that you make.
Yeah, yeah, especially to go with this weirdly. Like if they put it out and people got a year's play out of it and then it just died off after that and they closed the servers, then whatever. They
Mm-hmm.
kind of accomplished what they set out to do. Didn't catch on like they would prefer, but it was a
But
video game
less
that
than
people
half a
played.
year in a year where
Yeah,
everyone has been at home.
it goes from beta to 1.0 to beta to super closed beta to like just dead in the water and
Mm-hmm.
now being deleted from existence for the most part. So yeah,
Yeah.
weird saga for this. Obviously they have New World, which had a beta earlier this year, and that has some promise for it. And they just launched, or sorry, announced Luna, which is their kind of Stadia competitor. So it remains to be seen how those efforts go. But if this is telling of anything, then I don't have high hopes whatsoever.
Yeah, same. All right, on to the quick news here. First up, Nintendo are suing a TikTok and OnlyFans content creator. So I looked into this a little bit, and her name was Pokey something,
Pokey
and
Princess, I think.
Pokey Princess, and then also she had merchandise with Pokemon characters on it. So yeah, you fucking deserve it.
Yeah, when I saw this story, I was like, how did nobody see this coming? Like,
Mm-hmm.
when I saw it and kind of looked at it for face value, I'd seen her name and I was like, okay, that kind of straddles the line, and you know,
Well, the funny thing is that what really kicked it off was that she tried trademarking her name. So
yeah,
she had been selling merchandise for a while, and now that Nintendo knows that, they're suing her for all the money that she made from
it's
those
that
merchandise
merchandise,
sales.
man. That
Yeah.
that right there is where I broke with her. I the name is one thing.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that you can kind of tread that line a little bit and probably get away with it, but to take copyrighted material and sell it as your own, that's kind of copyright law 101. Don't
Mm-hmm.
do that. And
Yeah.
she did it and she got burned for it. So I don't know why she or anybody should be shocked at this, because it's basic fucking law, I guess. I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
No. Absolutely deserves it. But from what I did see on the Kotaku article, she was kind of owning up to it, and
Yeah,
she was like
I
saying, I don't want to be a victim. Like, I just want people to realize where I messed up and everything, and that she's still gonna support Nintendo and she still loves them. So, like, okay, whatever. Okay.
yeah, that's the thing. I'm just glad that she wasn't like, oh my god, why
Mm-hmm.
me? You know.
Right. Next up, Fall Guys is getting. Oh, I think they already got it. Sonic the Hedgehog skin. Uh, this is the kind of stuff we're pulling for this week. Yeah, it's a Fall Guy skin that looks like
Not
Sonic the
only
Hedgehog.
that, it's a horrifying skin. Like,
Yeah.
it's closer to Sonic than it is Sonic.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it would have been better if they went the whole Sonic route and like just like made the spikes 2D kind of like going up and down like
yeah, just
everything.
own it. Just go for
Yeah.
it full, you know.
Yeah, no, it's not a great skin, but whatever.
I still haven't played a single game of Fall Guys. I want to put that out there so
Yeah,
the internet can lambaste me. I
it's
just
pretty fun. Season 2 came out, I think, and they've got like this new night game going on now or something. I don't know. It's been a while since I played it. Next up, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are coming to Smite. I don't really care about Smite, but I know we have some friends that do.
yeah, that's I basically have the same sentiment. You
Yeah.
know, they did an Avatar: The Last Airbender like skin pack either last
Yeah,
year
and
or
they've
earlier
also
this
done
year.
Ruby in the past, which was
Yeah, there
pretty
was a
cool.
Ruby pack. So yeah, I'm all for crossovers. I think that kind of stuff, if done tastefully, is really cool, and I've got no problem with it. But boy, am I like 7 levels of over Smite.
I never really cared for it. Okay, next up, Doom Eternal has been run on a Samsung fridge. Did you see this?
I did. This is nuts.
This is
This is
really cool.
everything I want video games to be.
So there's a fan out there. He booted up Doom Eternal on his phone, his Android phone, using xCloud and everything, and started playing Doom Eternal. And then he transferred that to his fridge, and then he was playing it on his fridge, and it ran pretty damn well. So
Yeah.
that was awesome. Obviously, I'm nowhere near rich enough to have a fancy fridge like that, but that's really cool to see that you can do that.
I wonder if that's the if I don't think we're at that point yet, but I wonder if we get to that point where the new Will It Run is like the newest Doom game instead of the oldest Doom game, you know, because the
Mm-hmm.
running joke is like, oh, but can it run Doom? You
Doom
know,
has been ran on some really weird things in the past. There's like a piano out there that can run Doom.
there's somebody got the original Doom running on a pregnancy test
Yeah, I
display.
remember seeing that too.
That's just
Yes.
I love it. I love it,
Oh
man.
yeah,
Keep it
that's the
coming.
kind of internet content I'm here for.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
All right. So the newest PS4 update that came out today as we're recording, that's Wednesday. Will have Sony recording your voice chat parties. So I noticed this myself before we started recording. I was in a party with my daughter on PlayStation, and a thing popped up. Here, let me see if I can find the actual thing here. Okay, yeah, it a little message pops up when you jump into a party now that says voice chats may be recorded for moderation. By joining, you agree to being recorded. And needless to say, people aren't very crazy about you recording their conversations, and now some people are really they're not happy at Sony at the moment. This is kind of like going back to like the Microsoft and Kinect thing where everyone was like freaking out about Kinect recording your voice. Honestly, me personally, I don't care, but I get that people are really worried about their privacy, so this is a thing.
yeah. You know, this is a conversation that pops up a lot, and typically it centers around like smart devices, smart home devices, like your you know, Amazon speakers, your Google Homes, your you know, Apple Pod, Home Pod, whatever they call it, that kind of stuff. That you know, it has a lot of similar things to this, and I really don't know how to feel about it a lot of times. In one hand, like I don't care, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because what are they really going to record anyway? Me cackling like a demon at 3 a.m.
Right.
Fucking go for it, you know? On the other hand, like obviously, I think privacy is a very serious concern, and I think I guess the difference for me here is that when you buy a smart speaker, you kind of know what you're getting into
Mm-hmm.
for that, but with the incredible lack of any other options when it comes to chatting with your friends while playing on a Sony console, uh, this just doesn't feel good, you know?
The thing with me is the timing of this. Like, you're changing this right before the PS5 comes out. Like, that's
Yeah.
so weird to me.
Yeah, I would have to read up more on this to see what the actual use case and implications are of this before I really decry it and make Sony out to be some kind of monster. But uh, I've tasted it and the flavor's not very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
the wrong path. Don't do it.
No. Yeah. No. This is definitely odd. All right. And finally, Microsoft is giving 360 users free cloud saves to help ease the upgrade to new systems. So pretty much, I think you had to be a gold subscriber to have cloud saves before, right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. And now, if you are if you're still on 360 and you're looking to jump Xbox One and go straight to Series X or Series S, you can just put all of your saves on there. That way, if you want to play those 360 games in the future, all you have to do is just boot up the game and you're ready to go. So that's pretty cool. I don't understand why it wasn't already free. Like, the 360 has been dead in the water for a while, so
Yeah.
I would have hoped that this was done a long time ago. Maybe not right at the Xbox One release, but like a year or two after. Like, when games stop being made for the 360.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that maybe this move could have been done earlier in that
Mm-hmm.
cycle. However,
Long past overdue.
Right. I think this is kind of indicative of the Phil Spencer regime at Microsoft and at Xbox specifically. It's a lot of micro conveniences that you know. I don't know that anybody would ask them to do anything like this. I don't know that there's a large crowd of people that are looking to transition from 360 to the new Xboxes that are worried about their saves, that have wrote a petition and got it signed by thousands of people and asked for this specifically. But they did it anyway. They spent time on it. They did it, and it's kind of the backwards compatibility thing, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
really, they don't have to do it. They don't gain anything out of it realistically. Like, it's way more work than it's worth, or at least that's how it started out as. And it's so incredibly consumer friendly. I just love to see stuff like this, and kudos to them. It's cool. There's maybe 10 people in the world that are going to use it. I'm
Yeah,
definitely
there's not many.
exaggerating, but
Yeah, there's not many that are going to use it, but yeah, I don't know.
still cool. I mean, if I had
Yeah,
a
it's cool.
360 laying around, uh, hell yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, super cool move.
Yep. All right, now we move on to our topic of the week, which I came up with this week. And Connor, I kind of want to know, what are the most hyped video game announcements you remember? Like you were watching E3, you were
Hmm.
watching some kind of conference, or maybe just a stream, and you saw a thing that got you fucking going. Like, you're like, hell yeah, that's a video game announcement that I can live for. You got anything off the top of your mind? Because I already have a couple.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few that stick out in my memory. I would say maybe the number one, and I was actually. It's funny that you asked this. I was kind of thinking about this over the past couple of days, in kind of an adjacent way, and the one that jumps to mind immediately is Halo 2.
That was a
When
good
I
one.
saw that trailer and the first like beginning teases of it, I fucking lost my mind, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was beside myself with the amount of hype and excitement that I had. And I remember the energy of like being able to talk to other people about it and how stoked everybody was. And I think to a further extent Halo 3 was a very similar experience. And it was one of those moments that was like, I would wait outside of a building for like 5 hours to get my hands on this fucking game, you know?
Mhm.
And there haven't been a lot of games like that recently, or over the past maybe decade or so, that I've felt like that. But those two games specifically kind of stick out in my mind as, you know, games that just kind of transcend normalcy. You know, they're instant classics. Almost, it's like, oh my god, this game's gonna be the fucking game, and whether it is or not, that's irrelevant. But that feeling, yeah, those two games, man, for sure. I'll see if I think of any other ones while you
Yeah.
list off yours.
So the one that I was actually watching this. This is what made me think of this. Uh, I was listening to music and I came across a song that brought me back to one of my favorite games of the current generation. And so I went and watched the reveal and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking perfect. So in 2016 was Sonic the Hedgehog's 25th anniversary. All right. And
Okay.
they had this event for Sonic and everything, and kind of like they're like, okay, yeah, we have an announcement, and we've kind of been hinting at this for a while, but now we can finally show you what it is. And it starts off blue screen and saying, in 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog changed the world. One second here. Yeah, okay, my computer's freezing up. Sorry. All right, so a message that says 1991 Sonic the Hedgehog changed the world, and since then he's collected countless rings, and it's like showing games from his past and everything. And then at a certain point it says, but now, and then all the games that they were showing start running backwards and everything. It's like, we're going back. And then it shows Sonic Mania, a new 2D adventure, and they're saying like, oh, in association with Christian Whitehead, the crowd goes crazy because he's the guy that made those perfect mobile ports of Sonic 1, 2, and 3. And everyone's just going crazy seeing Sonic the Hedgehog like he actually should look, not Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Oh my god, kill it with a gun. Just like such an amazing reveal there with great music, and then showing like traditional Sonic gameplay with new bits and bobs to it. And man, that was so perfect. Like, just thinking about it is giving me goosebumps. It was so good. The other one that I think about is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Everyone is here, where they went through. Masahiro Sakurai's like, okay, we're going to show you some of the people that you will see in this game. And then it starts out Mario and Bowser, like the people that you know should be here, Kirby and everything. And then you start seeing some people that hadn't been there for a couple games. Ice Climbers are back. Everyone goes crazy. And then you see Snake appear, and it says, everyone is here. And you're like, wait, what? And then it goes to Pichu, the most pathetic character in the game's history. You have Toon Link besides Young Link. And you just got all these characters popping up to be like, I don't remember the original roster size, like 78 characters.
Yeah.
And then they show that huge canvas of all the characters. I'm like, man, that is so good. That's knowing your audience and just like really nailing down the reveal. That was so awesome. And I absolutely love it. Oh, and
I
Banjo
agree.
Kazooie.
Yeah. Yeah, all of their character reveals for this game have been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I guess piggybacking off of that one, I distinctly remember losing my fucking mind when they revealed Breath of the Wild. Just that the same time we got the Switch information, like I was already so hype, and then finally getting to see Breath of the Wild after seeing
The
like
story
the micro
trailer for it,
teases.
and then like seeing Zelda cry, and you're like, ah!
Just
That was
incredible,
great.
man. And it's still thinking about it gives me goosebumps. And knowing the game that we got from it now, like
Makes it even
knowing
better,
that
man.
not only was it super hype, but it actually delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell Joel we said that.
Whatever.
But,
He's not even on the
you
show
know,
anymore.
yeah, you're right. He just doesn't show up. He does all the editing. He's gonna catch this in post. But
He doesn't
you
watch it.
know,
He doesn't care.
it was just such an incredible moment. And maybe one of the other ones I can think of that made me feel like that was Fallout 3. I remember being very hyped for Fallout 3 when that was announced. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a big Fallout fan or anything, but just seeing what they'd crafted and what they created, and knowing their pedigree from the Elder Scroll series,
Mm-hmm.
it was just such an incredibly hype moment to see them take on something else. Everybody called it, Skyrim with guns. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was the name of it, was Skyrim with guns. I don't think for the first couple weeks anybody called it anything other than that, and I just remember that showing so incredibly well that year at E3 and being such an incredibly hype moment because there was a lot of cool technology and things happening that weren't necessarily mainstream at the time
Mm-hmm.
for that. So yeah, that was a really really cool one as well. I'm sure there's a bunch of them that I'm forgetting and not thinking of, but those are the ones that kind of stick out to me for the most part. State of Decay 3. Oh, that
Oh
one.
baby,
Yeah,
that
that one
got
was a good
us.
one.
That was a really good. I totally forgot about that. That is a
Yeah,
great one.
that one sticks out
Oh
in my
man,
mind as like simple but effective.
absolutely.
Uh,
Just the surprise there. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
So
absolutely. I agree. Uh,
those are probably the ones that jump out to be the most.
the last
And
one that I want to bring up is Bioshock Infinite because I'm a huge Bioshock fan and I was so
yeah,
excited for Infinite. And then that first trailer that came out, I was like, oh man, this looks amazing. It was a lot different when it released because they had to cut out a lot of stuff. But man,
yeah,
that CG trailer they had was amazing.
it
All right,
was.
man. I like video game announcements. I like when cool stuff is announced. All
Me
right,
too.
that does it for episode 116 of the Pixel Street podcast. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Be sure to hit us up on Twitter at Pixel Street, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Spotify, do all that nice stuff. We love you. Join our Discord. I am John Hanson. You can find me on Twitter at RevXShadows. Follow my writing on there, see what I'm up to. I will wish you a very happy unbirthday today. Unless you were born today, then fuck you. Connor, where can the people find you?
Yeah, the good people can find me on Twitter and Twitch at the Real Birch. That's Birch like the tree without the I, so BRCH. Come hang out. We've been doing some streaming every now and then. We did our last Pixel Street Pals night where we played some Among Us, which was a blast. That game is so much fun
Mm-hmm.
for how simple it is. Every time we get into it, it's such a cool experience. We got a chance to play that. We played through the Left 4 Dead 2 final campaign, and we're really trying to have some cool moments like that a little more often. So we'd love to have you come hang out or yell at me on Twitter if you hate my opinions. I won't listen, but it'll make you feel better, I guess. I don't know.
All right, I think that does it for us here. Come back next week, same time and place for episode 117. Bye.
See you later.